Hey guys, so Hazbin Hotel theories and thoughts and stuff like that. So first thing that Vivian here has said was that most likely she wants there to be about 6 seasons of Hazbin Hotel. She said that BoJack Horseman's her favorite show and has like 6 seasons, so she hopes to have at least 6 seasons of Hazbin Hotel. Second thing from this is that she said that this was as of right now. This was 7 days ago. She said, we know that the voice stuff has wrapped up for the show, and she said maybe about a year or less before we see season two, which is very comforting because I know a lot of us want to see that. Um, and then a lot so more the minor things. She was asked about Razzle Dazzle, Kiki, and Fat Nuggets about were they creations or were they in hell. We know that Fat Nuggets is like a hell pig, and we see those in Hell of a Boss. So yeah, Fat Nuggets is just kind of like a baby, either a baby or kind of like a pot belly where they're just naturally just forever small. Kiki is apparently the living embodiment of the hotel, and which means the hotel or that building at least was created a while ago because Charlie kind of made it into the hotel, but Kiki has been there a while. Because Lucifer knows who Kiki is, so it makes me wonder: is like, was the hotel there? Because is that where they lived? Did Lucifer try doing the same thing that Charlie was doing now, just in a different way? And he was like, okay, I'm abandoning this. This is a stupid idea. Our people are terrible and they don't need to be redeemed. Um, I'm pretty sure if Charlie lived somewhere, it wouldn't be there. I'm pretty sure they had like a palace castle type thing. Um, but most likely that's where Lucifer is. So who built the hotel and has, Kiki's apparently always been there, but she's apparently the living embodiment of the hotel. She can morph it and interact with it and kind of do things with it. Um, Also, they were asked about Razzle and Dazzle, and it was nice to know that I was kind of right about, Razzle Dazzle being created specifically for Charlie, kind of like, plushies, because I mean, the story of Lilith, right? How unfortunate it is for her to have kids. So I'm sure Lucifer and Lilith tried, but seeing as Charlie was really like the only child they had, it's like, well, we're probably not having any more kids. So I'm going to create these companions for her so that way she's never alone. So Razzle and Dazzle are kind of creations, like plushy type things created for Charlie. And yes, the one who died is dead. I think it was Razzle, or was it Razzle? I can't remember. But they are dead. They're dead. They're gone. Hence why there was a statue of them in memoriam for them at the end of the season, um, during the final song, because they're dead. They didn't have much screen time, but the time they had when they turned into the dragons, it just starts. It was truly badass. But yeah, they're dead. And yeah. But then one of the questions was about Hell of a Boss and the living world. And it's like, yeah, Hell of a Boss, the living world's kind of weird, and we try to make it like exaggerated and stuff like that because, you know, it's a show about these imps and they're basically their assassinations and bounty hunting and they're hitmen. They just kind of go to the living world and kill people. It's like, oh, they're gonna come here anyway, so who cares if it's a little early? But then they were like, well, what about in Hazbin Hotel? Are we gonna see it Hazbin Hotel? And she's like, yeah, because all the sinners in hell are humans. They were human once. So she said that there's going to be two people at least in season two where we see a backstory for, most likely Angel. He's been at the hotel the longest, so it's about time we see his backstory. Maybe Husk. I'm hoping Nifty, because we know more about Alistair than we do about Nifty. So, um, but then there was a question of, with the rings and stuff like that, and she said even though it's layered, you're not going to see people from the Pride ring in, you know, another ring. Like Lucifer could, because we saw him in pictures and with what Gammon, was it? Who was the one in the picture with Lucifer? I mean, obviously Lucifer can because he's the fucking king of hell. He is hell itself. He can go wherever he wants. But sinners, they can't go to other rings. And then there was a question of what about people in hell when they die? You know, like the sinners, and where do they go? Do they go somewhere, and or do they just disappear? And she said that there is a place that they go when they die, and it's the deep dark place. And that's where my mind started. That's where Eve is. She has confirmed that there is this deep dark place, probably where the worst of the, or not just the sinners, but the worst of the worst. I'm thinking we might see Judas. You know, that'd be cool to see. I mean, he is the one who betrayed Jesus, and you know, how much worse betrayal do you get than by betraying the Son of God, or God himself? You can't get worse than that. So we might see Judas. Um, but then what about other biblical figures like Cain and Abel? Are we going to see Cain there? Are we going to see Cain? No. Are we going to see Abel in heaven? I mean, other biblical figures, because they have no problem with biblical figures. We see the, the different, angels. We have Adam, we have Eve, we have Lilith, we have Lucifer, we have the kings of hell, Satan and Asmodeus. We have Stolas, who is the prince of hell, and they're keeping true to these characters. Stolas taking on the appearance of like a hawk or owl or something like that. So they're sticking true to what they're described as in the Bible and other stories like that. So this deep dark place where I'm sure the betrayers go, but then sinners go there when they die. And right there, I'm sure at the very center is Eve, because free will started and evil started because of her. And as I've said before, I'm sure it was sounding great at first. I'm sure Lucifer in this universe, it's not like the snake in the Bible where they knew what they were doing. It was sinister. No, Lucifer in the show is not sinister. He truly is a good person, and I think he did truly want Adam and Eve to have free will, and he saw how they, he was treated by heaven, and I think he just said, hey, you guys are created by God, but you guys are living under scrutiny and all these rules, and you can only do this and things that God approves of. How would you like true free will? How would you like to be able to answer your questions? How would you like to be able to explore? All of this, all the mysteries of the universe can be opened up to you, and all you have to do is just take a bite. I mean, when Lucifer puts it like that, yeah, that sounds pretty good. It's either continue under that watchful gaze of God and the angels, knowing that we could be punished at any moment, or having true free will. Now, of course, I'm sure Lucifer didn't know that not only he would be the creation of hell, but him, Lilith, Eve would be sent down there. But he didn't know that. He was just doing what he thought was right because he saw how he was treated with heaven. And heaven, the angels, it's like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? It's like, seriously, we cast you down once before, and then you go do stupid shit like this. Boom, down again. But this time, at least he wasn't alone. He had Lilith, and Lilith was the one who kind of brought hell together. But where did Eve go? Obviously, she was a creation of evil, free will, so she had to go somewhere. What if that deepest, darkest place was where she went? And what if, for eons, since the creation of hell, she's been gathering souls to her? And not just souls. Think about this. What happened to Adam? Where's Adam? We know he didn't go to heaven. What if he went down there? What if Adam and Eve were reunited? What if they started talking and Adam kind of works his charm and kind of makes, because he's going to be consumed, but he kind of says, hey, You're down here because of you. I can help you because I want revenge on them just as much as you do. And if it wasn't for you eating that fruit, it's like, yeah, look how much that free will got you. You're now in prison, chained up down here because of the choice you made. I can help you. What if we see a return of Adam? But now an Adam who's being powered up by Eve, who at this point is the strongest being apart from God. Like, this is a being that's going to take heaven and hell to beat. What if he is now being empowered? Maybe he loses his more angelic abilities and stuff like that because he's in hell now. But he's still, it's kind of like Alistair. I think Alistair made a deal with Rue or Eve, and that's why his power doesn't go up anymore. He was given a fixed power, a power that was able to even rival Adam's, and all the souls he makes a deal with and whatever, they go down to her, which is why he doesn't get stronger. Overlords make deals, they get stronger. He makes a deal, they go to her. Which is why he doesn't get any stronger. He was already made to be the most powerful person in hell, apart from Lucifer. I don't think he could really beat Lucifer, but he was given basically like power on Adam's level. But yeah, imagine Adam being empowered by Eve. Like, we know he obviously was reunited with Lilith at some point. You know, he had his deal with, Lute says that your deal with him is done. So we know they had a deal. And I said before, I think it was most likely after Lilith got tired of Lucifer's bullshit. This, my song, my beautiful song that can bring people together and that brought together hell, isn't enough to snap him out of his depression. Nothing I do works. So I'm tired of his bullshit. My daughter's old enough, she doesn't need me. Hell is established. I've done my job as queen. I've done my job as mother. Screw you guys. I'm going home. And she goes to talk to Adam, and it's like, hey, I want to come back to heaven. I want to come to heaven. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever, babe. Yeah, but by the way, you can't talk to anyone in hell ever again, and that includes your little brat, which is why Charlie hasn't talked to Lilith in 7 years. She hasn't seen her. She hasn't talked to her, because that was part of the deal, was that she can't talk to anyone in hell, including her daughter. So we know they've been in contact. But what happens when Adam and Eve come in contact with each other? I know. It's making just getting me all hot and bothered. Because what would be better than him sweet talking her into not devouring his soul and kind of returning? Because the way they did it, because again, where did he go? He didn't go to heaven. Where did he go? He just gone. We don't see them disposing with his body. Where did he go? Because you would think someone as powerful and important as Adam, the first man, where did he go? I think he got sent down there. I think it's kind of like, if you die in hell, you pretty much get stuck there. You don't, even if you're an angel, you don't go to heaven. You go down there. I think for most angels, they will, because he was stabbed. I think the knife was angelic, but because, of how powerful he is, I don't think he's like a regular sinner that would be killed. I think because of his status and everything, he was just kind of sent down to the darkest part. But what if, like, the final season, season 5, they kind of set up this whole Adam coming back thing? And the final battle with Rue or Eve and Adam. Let's have Alistair get his rematch, because now that Adam isn't an angel anymore and he's demonic just like everyone else down there. It's truly, even and skill wise, because she gives uh, Adam just as much power as she gave Alistair, and now they're truly equal. So it really comes down to who's better: cool, calm, mostly collected Alistair, or hot and impulsive, you know, Adam. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting to know that there is a place that they go, and I want to see it teased sometime soon, like at least what that area looks like, but maybe just have like a little teaser of, you see a certain part of that realm and you just look at it, you're like, that's where she is. If if there was any area that screamed the root of all evil is there, and most likely I think it's going to be like a literal root of evil type thing. I think it's going to be surrounded by vines and roots and stuff like that, because I think she's like, basically the way she's drawn, it looked like was like she's a stump or something, like imprisoned in a stump, almost like she herself is turning into a tree after eating the forbidden, from the tree of knowledge. Um, so that would poetic justice, really. But she's rooted to the spot. Um, so I think there's going to be a lot of vines, a lot of greenery around her. So you see like this empty realm, and then you get to the middle of it, and you see like this forest almost, and you're like, I know it's hell, and we know there's forests and lakes and other things like this, but this realm is mostly empty, and there's just a forest here in the middle of it. That seems oddly suspicious. Um, and it's kind of like, tell me that's where Eve is without telling me that's where Eve is, kind of thing. Um, but I think it's going to be kind of obvious because, again, I think because of the tree of knowledge and the apple, her it's slow, and I think consuming souls kind of prevents her from the transformation from really happening, which is why she's been gathering or been trying to for so long. It stops her from basically fully becoming a tree, and maybe she'll become a tree, and she'll produce the same kind of fruit that the tree in Eden had, except hers will kind of be like demonic knowledge kind of apples, whatever those would be. But so I think consuming souls would probably prevent from that change from happening. So she's most likely just a small stump at this, with portion of her body sticking out. And she's like chained and stuff like that, so she's not going anywhere. So she needs people like Alistair and other, to kind of, it's like, yeah, I can wait for people to die and come here, or I can give you this power and you can take people out, you know, and feed me this constant supply of souls, so that way I can stop this transformation from happening. And the stronger she gets, she'll eventually be able to kind of break the kind of fate that she's been, destined to kind of suffer. She'll kind of be able to break free of that wood stump, and be able to walk around among people again. And I think that's when she's going to be at her most powerful. And I think that's when people are going. We're going to need all of heaven, all of hell. That includes all the rings, all the kings of hell, Stolas and his family. We're going to need all hands on deck. Everyone but God, because God could easily come in, snap his fingers, and just poof her out of existence. But then what does that teach the cast? What does that teach Charlie and everyone? Nothing. It just teaches you, well, if you're ever in a pinch and ever in a pickle, just wait for God to step in. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And imagine like Adam kind of like revealing himself and him kind of luring people like them there, and they don't know that's what's waiting for them is Eve. And it's kind of like a surprise, bitch, kind of moment. um, where he kind of lures them there, and we see this triumphant return of Eve, and we see Adam and Eve standing side by side, but then maybe she betrays him, you know, betrays him again, because he felt betrayed the first time already. He felt betrayed with Lilith. He felt betrayed after Eve, after the fruit. And what if, because now she's evil now, naturally she's just going to betray him again? It's like, hey, you did exactly what I want. I have no further use for you. I'm taking your soul now. All of that power I gave you, I'm not only taking that back, but I'm taking your soul as well. So say goodbye to your friends. Playtime's over. But then we can see a fully realized Eve in all her glory, and we're going to be seeing Lucifer, Lilith, Charlie, Hell. We're going to see armies of angels and all this entire fight taking place in this realm, and because they're going to need all the people they can get. So I think we're going to see. I think at this point, Sarah and Emily will probably have made up. Because again, I think Emily's going to choose to fall. She's going to, refuse to continue going on to go along with what's going on. And I think she's going to choose to go to hell. And Sarah and Emily will eventually make up, because Sarah will realize that she's been a bitch this entire time, and that hell's not trying to cause an uprising. They're just people trying to live their lives, their second lives. And they'll be there on the front lines with Charlie and her family, and seeing Serpentius there with his his weapons, and angelic weapons now. I think that would be really cool. This all out final confrontation between heaven and hell and the root of all evil, Eve. And this was all just on the spot stuff. Considering she said that this is a dark place where they go, considering this is most likely where Eve is, someone has to be there to rule the realm, right? And that whole Adam thing, that just was like, where's Adam? What if Adam and Eve were reunited? This was just off the top. Hopefully you guys like that little theory. It sounded good, at least coming out with reunited with them, and giving him power, and he's able to come back, but then he's betrayed at the end, and that heaven and hell have to kind of work together to kind of take her out. And she's because she's kind of turning into a tree herself, this fruit of tree of knowledge, she's bound to the spot until she gets enough souls. But then she kind of betrays Adam, and she's finally able to fully break free, and after consuming his, which is extremely powerful, because he was the first man that was like just enough juice to that was just enough juice to set her loose. And then there's this final battle between all heaven and hell, and this fully realized, fully unleashed Eve, and seeing the morning stars, and Stolas's family, and all the kings of hell, and the overlords who were still surviving, and the angels like Emily and Sarah, maybe Molly. That'd be cute. She can probably just cute Eve to death or something. I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool idea. And kind of start setting that up in like season 5 or something, the beginning of season 5, and have it kind of come to fruition at the middle of season 6, if it's to be the final season. But yeah, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. No, but yeah, let me just know what you guys think. Some likely scenarios that you also would like to see. Whose backstory are you more interested in? I don't think we're going to see Alistair's for a while because of how important he is. We're not going to see his right away. I think the human stories that we're going to see the next season is most likely going to be Angel, because he's been there the longest, and hopefully Nifty. If not Nifty, maybe like Husk, 'Cause, I mean, he was a human at some point. Um, which also that if we get Alistair's, we'll most likely get Mimsy as well. Not her backstory, but we'll see flashbacks or his backstory of going to where she worked and danced and all that. So we'll see Mimsy in Alistair's story, because apparently he frequented where she was. I mean, they were friends, so he constantly went to see her, and a few back. Um, Most likely after his other job of radio show, and maybe after a long night of killing and stuff, he's like, oh, well, time to go blow off some steam. Nothing better than taking back a few glasses of rye and dancing. Oh, how I missed it. But yeah, just anything you guys can think of, let me know. But that's gonna be it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.